It was a fairly hectic week on global share markets last week. US markets did increase and have now increased by close on 62% since their lows earlier on this year. All up, the third quarter earnings season has been pretty good, with close on 80% of the S&P 500 companies that have reported earnings so far exceeding market expectations. American Express had a pretty good week last week after global consumer spending has increased through October. Commodities such as gold and copper are also up after industrial production figures showed that Chinese industrial production is up in the past month. When we left the office on Friday afternoon, the New Zealand dollar was trading at 73.30 against the US. On Monday morning, it has increased by 1 cent over the weekend and is trading at 74.30. The New Zealand housing market continues to be a real headache for our Reserve Bank. Data out last week showed that residential house prices have increased 3.3% in the 3 months up until October of this year. This is really posing a real problem for the Reserve Bank. Low interest rates and good people coming back to our shores, coupled with low supply levels at this current time, are really underpinning prices. The Reserve Bank have indicated that they do not want to see another debt-fueled housing boom here in New Zealand at this particular time for our economic recovery. So this will be a real worry. They have tried to dampen down markets by really jawboning, which is basically talking down the market. However, only time will tell whether this will work. We still believe that the Reserve Bank will have to increase interest rates earlier than they are indicating because of factors like this in the housing sector. New Zealand beef schedule prices have edged up a few cents over the past week. I suspect this is more of a supply-driven fundamental rather than a change in demand. Domestic prices out of the US are still currently weak, although I have heard some reports that beef grinders are working 7 days in order to get beef patties through their factories. Several fast food chains have launched new burgers into the market just recently. Imported prices out of the US have increased slightly over the past week as supply is really tight in the US market at this present time. This has more than likely meant that scheduled prices here in New Zealand have increased. However, when the supply chain really gets going as the season kicks in, I think these prices will come down just a bit. Through this season, I also suspect there will be further downward pressure on beef schedule prices.